You did well, you listened to me, you obeyed me. That paves the road to paradise. Now, this is as far as religion is concerned. Now we come to another angle approaching the hijab, which is the contemporary perspective on hijab. Is it something good or bad? Is it logical or illogical? Allow me to say a few things here. I mentioned, and probably we all agree, that the physical structure of women in general is attractive, and therefore she draws the attention of everybody around her, all the people around her. Now, on the one hand, Allah is asking men to lower their gaze, which is excellent, and they have to follow that. On the other hand, Allah is not putting the pressure, all the pressure on women, or all the pressure on men. Allah says you have to share this responsibility. Oh men, you have to lower your gaze. Women, when it comes to you, you have to protect yourself. Do not present yourself in a very provocative way. Don't do this. Be merciful with the society around you. I have given you a very beautiful body. I need this body to fulfill its purpose, the purpose of the creation. Not to be exploited, not to be wasted, not to be cheapened or reduced to a mere physical and sexual object. Don't do this with your body. Therefore, if you ask women today in Europe, there is what they call a crusade of fighting the headscarf, especially in France, especially by the president, the French authority, and the French president. 2 days ago, he gave a speech, the French. This is different from the headscarf. We are talking about two different things. He said the veil is the mark of humiliation and disgrace in the Muslim culture. The veil, the niqab. You know, when they cover the whole face and only they show the eyes? And he said there is no room for this in France, and we have to fight this. Now, maybe, if you ask me, I would not agree with wearing the veil. Veil is different than hijab. Don't get me wrong. Veil is different than hijab. Veil is the niqab, where they cover the everything. They cover the whole face, and it comes up to here. Only they show the eyes. I disagree with that. Maybe this one would work in Iran, in Afghanistan, in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, in Yemen, in Morocco, in wherever, but it does not work in the West. And it does not serve any purpose, by the way. And I believe if a woman wants to wear the veil that way, she should move to the east. She should go back to her home. Although they are all free, but that does not serve any purpose. And the Quran here says it's okay for the face to be shown. But if they want to cover it, they are free. They are free. And they have to be respected and honored for their decision. But I think the place of it is not in America. If they want to cover the face, they should do that back home, in the Middle East, in Iran, in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Hijaz, in Egypt, in these countries. But not in America. Because this will bring much misunderstanding. Why she is covering her face? Why? And Allah did not go that extreme. Hijab is wajib, but moderate hijab. Not a hijab that starts frightening the people and signaling the weakness of women and women being disadvantaged in the society and marginalized in the society. So I am not with the veil, which is niqab, but I am with hijab and the headscarf. the modest dressing, the headscarf, the hijab, the Islamic hijab, what Allah requires from us in the Quran. And we read the verses earlier. We read the verses earlier that Allah says they cover except the area which is ordinarily appears. And all the scholars, they say the face is an exception. They don't have to cover it. And their hands to the rest here. So here, the hijab is mandatory, but veil is not mandatory. The niqab is not mandatory in Islam. And therefore now in Europe, they call it a crusade to free Europe from the headscarf. But on the contrary, what we see is that the headscarf is increasing day by day. Day by day. If you go to Europe, if you travel to Europe, any place in Europe, you will see the number of women and girls and young girls and young women and very educated women, professional women who are observing hijab. This number is on the rise, is not decreasing, despite the hostilities, animosities against hijab. But Muslim women are becoming more proud of themselves and are becoming more aware of their moral and religious responsibilities. And they don't back up. They don't turn against the hijab. They know this is a moral responsibility. Now, of course, reasons are different. And by the way, let me tell you the reasons. One reason, if you ask them, they may tell you that this is what God has asked me. Period. God asked me in the Quran to observe the hijab, the headscarf, and I'm not going to take it off. A second person, a second female, may not cite God or religion. She would say, this is my tradition. I was brought up with this scarf. I was brought up with this scarf. So this is not necessarily something religious I am doing. This is something traditional. This is the customs in my village, in my family, in my town. Everybody is wearing this. I am part of everybody. This is the second example. A third person would tell you, I am an ardent feminist. I am proud of my feminism, and I want to do whatever I think is right for me to do. A fourth person may tell you that hijab, the scarf, you know, the khimar, the overcoat, it goes well with my fashion, with my dress. I like it. I become very fashionable women. And I look nicer. I look more presentable, probably. I'm not doing it for religion. I'm not doing it because my country, they do this in my country, or my mother is doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm doing that because I want to be more attractive. More attractive. Many women, they observe hijab because they look more attractive. If they remove the headscarf, oh my God, you should not look. You should be very careful. Another example says, listen, I don't care whether religion is asking me to do this or not. I don't care about my tradition. All I care about is I am defying the ultra-secular society who is forcing me to take off, who tries to dictate on me what to do, what to wear. I'm trying to defy that. And I'm trying to tell them, I choose what I want to wear, not you. You cannot choose for me. So there are many reasons for it. There are many reasons for it. But we as Muslims and believers in Allah, we should do what we believe, that we should do what Allah wants us to do, not what the government wants us to do. We should do what is religiously and morally right for us. And after the break, inshallah, brief break, I'll come back and I will have a brief word with our young daughters about the hijab, inshallah, after the break that we are going to take. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
مهدی مهدی ای آرام جانم، مهدی مهدی ای صاحب زمانم، مهدی مهدی